And we're back with some Dave the Diver. And this is going to be a quick sort of review-torial of how Dave the Diver works. And Dave the Diver is... it's not a deep game. Not a very deep game at all. What you want to do here is basically get some good fish and sell them. Because that is the only mechanic that really matters. All the rest of the mechanics are completely avoidable. So, all we're going to do is we're going to pop down here. We are then going to use our tranquilizer rifle, which is available from very, very early on in the game. We are going to go find ourselves a shark or two. We're going to trank them, return them to the surface, and then leave. And that's it. Ah, there you are. Sometimes they hide in the corners. Perfect. We managed to trank him with the first hit. Doesn't always happen that way. Then we call in this drone. Now, I'm just doing this to show you what is the literal optimum maximum play that you want to do. And then it sort of points out why the rest of the mechanics don't matter after a while. The second thing we want to do is we want to find the second shark. There's a second one around here, really close by. Usually this direction. Ah, there we go. You come here for a second. Now, there we go. Second shot got him. You got about a 40% chance with each shot. And boom. Now, that drone is going to pick up that shark and bring it back to the surface. There are other ways. We could just chop it up, but unfortunately that would not get us nearly as much meat. And then once that's done, we're just going to pop down, and there is... Yeah, there's a mirror over here. You go away. I don't like you. There's a mirror over here, and this will take us back to the surface. And we can go straight back to the boat. Then it shows us what we've got, which is 27 meat from the shark, 27 meat from the other shark. That's all we really cared about. Then what we do is we do that all over again. I'm just going to skip that bit, but basically you repeat that. After doing those 2 runs, you will have 54 shark meat of each one of those, and it's time to go make some sushi. You see, this is the only game mechanic you can't really avoid, and it makes you money, and money is what you use to buy the upgrades for your diving so you can go deeper and progress the storyline. So what we're going to do here is, I have a few other options here because I was playing around some more, but we're going to take that poor beagle shark we got and the narwhal sushi. Now, one thing you see is there's this enhance button down here, and this is for improving the quality of a dish. It's sort of like a one-time cost you pay, where you basically trash some of the meat to get improved meat for all the subsequent servings. So, for example, this is worth 462. If we enhance it, we will burn 51 meat, but we'll end up being able to charge 540 for all the remaining pieces. Yeah, there's a whole animation behind it. Let's just skip that, shall we? And done. But if we want to go up to the last level, it costs us another 76 meat. It's roughly around 210, 216 meat, I think, for each one to upgrade them to maximum level. However, there's a bit of a quirk here. Take, for example, this dish here. If we want to enhance that from level 1 to level 2, it costs 3 for one of them, 4 for the other, and 6 for the top level. Basically, what's happening here is it costs more depending on what the basic cost is. So if it costs 1, it's going to cost you about 210 resources to go up to max to get all of the upgrades. If it costs 2, about 420. And if it costs 3, it costs you like 630 or whatever it is like that. So things that are like the shark are very simple and quick to upgrade. Right, well, we're going to put both of those sharks on the menu. Then we're going to put them to auto supply because that's good. And the moment that's done, we're just going to hit open the bar. And everyone comes in to start eating. Now, when it comes down to staff, it's actually pretty easy. Staff depends on how many people you're going to be dealing with. And that's pretty easy to determine. You're going to have this rating that you get. And your rank is going to be determined by, well, a few things. One is how many followers you have. Once you get up to this level and you knock out gold, every level beyond that starts giving you more customers. Actually, I think gold gives you more customers as well. So when you're at gold level, what you're going to want to do is make sure you've got these staff members right here. Basically, Makai, you get from the storyline. Yoni, you have to hire her. Raptor and El Nino. You want to have these people as your staff because they're awesome and they're the best. All the rest, some of them will work, but these are just the best ones. The reason you want Raptor and El Nino is they will do cocktail serving, wasabi refill, cleaning master, and drink serving. Those 4 things combined mean you have to do nothing. They will cover every single job. You're going to want to upgrade them to level 3 by the time you get to gold, because once you hit level 3, it gains access to these skills. They don't gain access to their skills until they hit level 3, or one of their skills. Their second skill they'll gain access to when you upgrade them to level 7. So at level 3, you can have gold ranking. Once you get up to the platinum ranking, or was it diamond ranking, you're going to want to upgrade them to level 7, so you get drink serving and wasabi refill. Same with the cooks. You're going to want to get them up to level 3 by the time you hit gold with Cookstar, and then you want to upgrade them to level 7 by the time you get to diamond. This just means that you don't have to really do anything after you hit those ranks. You can just sit in the corner and do nothing, and the money will just keep rolling in. All right, let's skip this forward while they take care of everything, and we're just going to stand here and do nothing. If you want, you can refill the wasabi. It's actually pretty easy to do, and you can refill it before it becomes a problem. I usually do that if I'm bored. Just before we finish there, please note this event thing up in the corner. That is a special event that is happening that we are completely ignoring, because, so like I said, none of this stuff matters bar just getting some fish and selling in the sushi, and that is it. You can literally ignore everything else. I picked this day because it is the worst type of day you can have with this strategy. We picked it so there was an event on, we did not provide them with any shellfish, and this is how much profit we made. We still made 9 grand. We have a sister station that also works. They made 29 grand. So we still came out with about 38 grand in profit. Now the reason I say that is the most important mechanic is because you want money, and the only reason you want money is so that you can buy the upgrades for these things here. If you were to buy every single upgrade from start to finish, it would cost you 132,000. And we just made 40 grand in one day. So 4, 8, 12, yes. So in about 4 days, we could make enough money doing this to max out literally everything. And again, these are the only things that are necessary to finish the game. There is other ways you can spend money, like on guns and things, but honestly, you'll get by with the basic underwater rifle. Incredibly cheap, very quick to make. We're not going to equip that. And then you can upgrade it to turn that basic underwater rifle into a tranquilizer rifle. This will cost you a few fragments, some gold, 200 gold, and some cuttlefish skin, which is actually painfully annoying to get, but once you have it, you have a tranquilizer rifle which will last you from the beginning of the game to the end. You can literally get by on this gun and no other gun for the entire game. The only other one that I would consider really important is the tranquilizer. Some people talk about the net gun. Don't bother. Just seriously. The tranquilizer gun is a little bit trickier in that what you really want to do is get it to the very end, this modified hush start one, and that requires a vampire squid tentacle and topaz, which means you need to get all the way down to the glacier area before you can use it. So honestly, you're not going to use this until you get to the point I showed you where we pop down to those sharks. I've restarted the game here, gone back to the very beginning. We have almost nothing. We are pretty terrible. I did a few of the basic starter stuff, but now what we're going to do is we are going to time skip. You see, the thing is, time doesn't matter. You're going to think, oh, I want to maximize my time down in the depths. I want to try and bring up as much as I can. I want to try... No, none of that matters. In fact, the more time passes, the more missions become available and the more things you get given for free that make the game easier. So sometimes it's just better to skip stuff. On the 12th of October, we get the jellyfish party notification. This tells us there's going to be a jellyfish party and it opens up some opportunities for us. But we still don't care. And here is our next event, the Tuna Yacht Party. Now, there was something I had missed. It turned out there was something we did have to do first, and that was gain access to the shop before we could gain access to the Tuna Yacht Party. To gain access to the shop, we actually had to go down and open up the cave system. You follow the main mission chain. It'll be given to you by Dr. Bacon. It's about 2 or 3 dives to go down and actually blow up in some rocks. But that gives you access to the shop. Once you have access to the shop, you can then receive this quest. And this quest is just time-locked. That's it. It's only time-locked. And since you can skip forward in time without really paying much, you have to pay your staff like $20 or something like that. You can get around and get to the Tuna Yacht Party, which gives you some incredible options. You see, after you get access to the Tuna Yacht Party, if you just skip forward to the next afternoon, I know there's an awful lot of skipping and not playing a lot of the game here. Cobra here will go, hey, we got to get some tuna. And to get the tuna, we're going to use a drone. You gain access to the underwater drone after playing for about 30 to 40 minutes. Normally you'll be about 10 hours in before you get this because you'll be spending hours down in the below and you won't be using this guy nearly as much. The reason you need access to this shop before he will give it to you is because if you gain access to the shop, you can then buy the nets off him, which you need for one of the quests. Cobra forces you to do this little tutorial to figure out how to use the drones, but basically they allow you to grab the large fish, the ones that you have to chop up before you can bring them back up, and instead you can just dump them on a drone. And not only that, you can grab entire sharks, and if you tranquilize the sharks, you can take them all the way back up to the surface, just like we did at the start. You will notice this special coloured fish. We got 27 tuna by just bringing one of them back up to the surface. That's the thing, you can also get 27 shark meat every time you bring them back up to the surface. There's 2 massive advantages to gain access to the drone at this point. The first one is carry capacity. The ability to just chuck an entire shark and have it brought to the surface without having to carry any of it on you really cuts down on the amount of weight you need to carry. Second thing it does for you is it gives you even more meat to upgrade your current existing dishes. So for example, this long-nosed shark meat, if we want to enhance this again, it's going to cost us 6 meat. If we can go down and tranquilize a long nose, we can get 27 meat for bringing it back to the surface. If we kill it and bring it back up that way, we get a lot more meat than normal, but not quite that much. But getting 27 meat as opposed to 10 allows you to do a massive amount of upgrading really quickly. And that would be my advice for how to play the game. Basically, break open the cave so you get access to the shop that Cobra has, then skip time until you get access to the tuna event. Once you get access to the drone, then play the game as normal. There are other dishes that you can use. Unfortunately, most of them are a pain in the butt. For example, this one here, you're going to have to catch a whole bunch of these different types of fish. You can run them in a fish farm, but it takes you a whole bunch of time and effort. The amount of time you would invest in this, just getting this up and running, you're far better off just doing 2 runs of killing sharks and selling them. 1 run of this would get you the same amount of money, but it would take you 3 or 4 times as long of actual game time to do. I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying it's in an inefficient use of time. But it is fun. I mean, I have maxed out one of the recipes myself just for giggles, because you can do it that way. This is using crops that the seaweed people grow, so you have to grow the seaweed down there. The turmeric you can get by doing dispatch runs with your staff. You can send your staff off on dispatch missions, which you normally do, and you send them off on dispatch runs and keep all of the... You hire everyone, send them off on dispatch runs when you're not... for the ones you don't actually employ. You also end up with a branch. This branch thing, the person you're going to want to put in charge is Dre. Yeah, there's this thing down here, so this thing where it says rank 9, that's the maximum level of the ingredients that you can use. Dre is good because he gets to rank 9 when he hits about level 13. You have to pay to actually level people up, and he, at level 13, can use all rank 9 foods. Well, someone like Itsumi, she was recommended to be as a manager. No. If you assign her as a manager, even at level 20, which costs about 90 grand to upgrade her to level 20, just between 19 and 20 costs 90 grand. She can only get up to rank 8, meaning she can't use some of the high-end meats like shark meat. She can't use any of that. For example, see we get coral sushi trout and harlequin hind, and if we swap Dre back in, 1 second, with Dre back in, we now get the shark meat back on the menu because shark meat is a level 9 thing. He gains access to these at level 13, and at level 15, he gains access to both of his recipes. The 2 recipes, like every employee gives you 2 recipes, and the 2 recipes he gives you are ice fish curry and roasted capelin, which are both 2 of the best dishes you can possibly get, which means it's a really good idea to promote Dre just to get these recipes, never mind put him in as your manager of your branch. The reason these are so good is if you do want to go this route, you want something that only takes 2 vegetables and 1 of these dispatch items. Because if it takes 3 vegetables, you won't really be able to use an awful lot of it. Also, you need a fish that's common enough. For example, I tried using these Dumbo octopus. There's only 3 Dumbo octopus on the map, which means I can only capture 3 of them per round. However, if it comes to these ice fish, there's about 15 of them. I could get 40 ice fish meat in a single run. I can only get 9 Dumbo octopus meat in a single run. Capelin seems like a terrible idea. However, there's about 50 capelin down on the glacier map, meaning you can capture about, I think it's 80 meat. Just using just the grappling hook thing, I was able to get 80 meat per run on these. So if you want to max these recipes out, it's very quick, it's very efficient, and you can start using them faster. If you try to use some of the rarer fish, good luck, it takes hours. This is the farm. To max it out costs 40 grand for everything. And you can hire this guy over here to run the farm for you eventually. However, it costs money, but at this point you won't really care. For 7 days it's 12,600. But at this point, like, we've got 800 grand, we don't really care. This is the fish farm. It allows you to farm fish. However, do be aware there is a limit. For example, we have 91 of these Titan triggerfish in here. Only 9 of them will ever spawn. Forever and ever and ever. Even if we have more tigerfish in there or less, once you hit a certain trigger level or a certain level, they can't produce any more. This is probably the best example, and it's the Cleons. These things are tiny, and you can keep literally hundreds of them. However, you can only ever replicate 30 per round. So knowing this, that there's a limit to what these can do, it kind of limits what these fish farm recipes can support. Which is why I heavily recommend the capelin and ice fish. You can get about 20 of these per round because of their small size, and yet each one of them still gives 3 meat. These are just the best fish for the best recipes. So, Dave the Diver, it is a very, very casual game. Honestly, like, for the bosses, they let you repeat the fights as much as you want. There's no negatives. If you die, you just hit the Q button, start again, and you get to keep all your knowledge and all of your equipment and gear. The game's not meant to be stressful. It's meant to be fun and relaxing. And me telling you how to just immediately jump straight forward towards the drone section, yeah, I don't think they really care too much. Play it however you want. And if you want to go with the recipes, go with those too. It's just if you want to get to the end of the game, you can get there far more quickly by just getting your hands on the salvage drone and living entirely off shark meat for all of your sushi needs. You can max everything out pretty quick that way. Personally, I enjoyed the game. doesn't really meet my min-maxing standards, but it's got its fun, quirky bits. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck.